Greetings and welcome to another session of At CCLI. I'm Paul Herman with my friend Jennie Riddle and Charity Gayle here in Porte, Indiana, the home of People and Songs. And I think we are here in Charity's room on the second floor here. How's the room?
I love it. It's beautiful, and the view is probably my favorite in the whole house.
Very nice. Charity is an amazing songwriter and artist with People and Songs. And Jennie, first I want to know, what first drew you to Charity?
Her purity, her precious, glowing, bright, shining innocence and love for the Lord. She is as transparent as they come, and He burns brightly through her. And then such grace. God's given her such a gentle spirit, and she uses her powers for good. So, just an anointed woman of God. Loved her deeply and felt instantly like she was family. So she's become one of my dearest and best friends.
So you live in Buffalo.
Yes,
And
Buffalo, New York.
Tell us about your role there with your church and your worship leading role.
Well, I am a preacher's kid, and actually a preacher's grandkid, because my grandfather and grandmother founded the church in Buffalo, New York, New Life Center, and then my dad actually got voted in as pastor in the late 90s, so I've pretty much been in a pastor's home my entire life, and grew up loving to sing and being immersed in worship unto God. I saw that my entire life and felt the calling on my life at a very young age. And so I led worship at my church and in other churches growing up, but I officially became the music director and worship leader full-time as of last October. And it's been amazing. Like, my church is, like I said, we're family. And so I've been able to see other families growing up with me in the same church my whole life, and new people coming in and their families begin to grow. And so not only are we growing spiritually, but we're growing together. And so they're my church family, and I just love worshiping with them. And every Sunday, especially lately, has just been a surprise. Like, God always shows up and does something amazing. Like last Sunday, we ended up staying in worship for an extra 2 hours after service. So you never know. And with my people and how we worship together, it just feels like such a sweet, sweet bond and time with the Lord. So I love it. I love leading at that church, and I love the people there very much.
Wow. How do you balance your time between that role and then writing songs here with Jennie and People and Songs?
Well, thankfully, I'm able to schedule my own rehearsals, and so I'm able to be here when I need to be and be there. So God's really given me a both and in this situation, and I'm just so grateful for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I love your song, The Divine Exchange. It's on my personal worship playlist. Tell me the story behind it.
Well, that was actually one of Jennie and mine's first writes that we did together, and it was in Nashville. It was a beautiful July day, and we were there with Melanie Tierce and Brandon Collins. And before we even started writing the song, I remember standing around in Jennie's kitchen, and we were just talking about what it was that actually causes us to have a relationship with God. And it's the fact that His blood and His sacrifice washes clean. And I believe Jennie actually came up with the phrase divine exchange, and we just put the gospel in song. And so 3.5 minutes of just gospel truth, and that bridge is probably one of my favorite things, because I can say that over myself. And actually, that was during a time in my life where I was kind of going through a rough time and needed to be reminded of the basics, that Jesus has sacrificed Himself for me, that I'm able to say that His grace is sufficient. So hallelujah, grace is mine. And then Jennie came up with that bridge, and I lay down all lesser things for greater gain. You know, the things of this earth don't mean as much as what God means to me. Yeah. And so it lives in me. Those lyrics live in me, and I'm just so appreciative that God gave that song to us, and I was able to write it with Jennie and Melanie and Brandon. So
Wow.
it's a gift.
What do you remember from that session?
I remember that I was actually not there for a part of it. I came in late.
Yes.
So it had begun. It had begun in the house, and then I had something to go do, which I don't generally leave. And then they came. They had almost all of it there. So I feel like all I did was come in and kind of help tilt the tent a little bit straighter. They didn't have a hook, and so the whole big idea wasn't coming together. And so I remember explaining what's missing is just the whole idea that we lay down our lives. It's such an upgrade. You know, we trade sin for righteousness. We trade shame for glory. It's such an upgrade. Who would not want this? We trade all of our pain and disease for His holiness and His health and His strength and vitality, His resurrection. And so the divine exchange, it's the laying down of the lesser things that sometimes we think are our treasure, our gifts, our resources, our time, our life, our vision, so much lesser. It's everything He has is glorified and grand and far beyond anything we could ever imagine. So that was the thought that needed to like just come together. But all the bones of it, the melody was there. They had it all together. It was so good. Such a good song. I'm so privileged to be a part of it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And I hear there's more songs coming and a new project. So tell us about that.
Yes, I'm so excited. I think it's been 3 years.
Longer than that, I think.
It's been a while, but we have decided to, like, the right songs need to be on this project.
We've really worked hard for them.
Yeah,
We fought for them because we want to blend generations and cultures, and we want to bring church back to church.
Yeah, that's right. And more than that too, I feel like I really want these songs to be the kind of songs that are going to usher people before the throne of God.
Yeah.
And be the kind of songs that are going to cause people that may not have a relationship with God realize that life with Him is so much better than life without Him. Like, I want every single one of these songs to have a purpose, and I believe that they will. And I do feel that there's a reason and a person behind every one of these songs.
Yeah.
Like, I just have this dream that people are going to come and say, this song at this time in my life was the reason why I did A, B, and C, you know? And that's my prayer. And like Jennie said, it's gonna be cross-generational. I feel like I want these songs to not only reach the current generation of believers, but the believers that have been in it their entire lives and say, yes, this just feels so familiar. This feels like kingdom. This feels like something I wanna sing, you know?
So can you talk about some of the specific songs?
Well, one of my favorites lately was written with Jennie and Crystal and Will Yates, and it's called Cleanse. And the melody and the feel of this song it brings me back to those songs of my childhood. And it talks about being cleansed, being washed, and being sanctified. You know, that basis behind I've laid down all lesser things for greater gain. Again, it's like, wow, that God would choose someone like me that doesn't deserve His love, and then be able to say, you've made me clean, God, and I can walk in this. And so, and it just feels, like Jennie said, it just feels like church.
It does indeed.
It really feels like church. And, you know, we'll be bringing back elements like big gospel choirs and
All the things you love.
yeah, all the things that I love, and you know, put a little different spin on it this time around, but it's going to be exciting.
And we're, as People in Songs, we're going to all get to join her church choir and then others that she's bringing in. So it's going to be quite a fest.
The worlds are colliding.
And we're going to do it here in Porte.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All of her people are going to come stay in the house.
It's going to be awesome. I'm really, really excited about it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Any other songs that you want to comment on?
We're going to recut Divine Exchange. And there's a song also that we wrote with Shane Bernard and Jennie and myself.
So good.
And it's called Waterfall. And that song, man, there's just something special about it. And it's got an anointing on it, and I'm very excited about that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're gonna
And
cut.
My God Fights for Me.
Oh, so good. We
That one's a really good one.
Yeah, we read
I've
that one at one of the
heard that
retreats.
one, the a cappella one.
Yes.
Yes. Ooh.
I know. And so there's different elements, but it's gonna be good.
That one we wrote at the, or I wasn't even in on it, y'all wrote it. It was the one at the last People in Songs retreat. Great is Thy Faithfulness.
Great is His faithfulness.
Ah,
Yes.
so good.
That one was written just a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
actually. David Gentiles, May Angelus, Elizabeth Honeycutt, and Stephen Musso were on that.
So
Mhm.
good.
That song, that one feels like the perfect, it's gonna just round out this album.
Yeah.
So patterned after the old hymn?
Kind of, it has elements of it for sure, but there's a line in that song that just blows my mind that says, in grief and in glory, still great is His faithfulness.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? Oh, it's so good. So it feels like a piece of me.
Mhm.
You know, all of these songs have a piece of me in them, and they're songs that I've been singing in my church, and songs that I know that people are just they're gonna love to be able to worship with them. So.
So tell me about community life with People in Songs. What's it like to be part of this?
It's a blessing. It is growing, and it's definitely amazing to be able to come into this house now with people like the Riddles and different worship leaders from different backgrounds from all over the country to come together and to be in community with each other, not only to write songs and to worship together, but also we can sit at the dinner table together and we can talk about the things of God, and we can talk about how our churches are working and what God's doing in them. And really, for me, that is such a blessing, because there's not a lot of people who can relate to what we're doing. And so to be able to come together and say, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know how you're feeling. I've gone through that myself. Or this is what I did in this situation, and this is how God, turned this around for me in my life. And to be able to hear those stories, and when I say all corners, I mean, I'm in New York, we've got Joshua in Florida, Melanie's in California, and May's in California. So we have come literally from all the corners of the country. And hopefully we get even further out than that. And I'm just excited to see what God does. But it's good, it's a rest time for me. I'm able to come in among people that I know are loving, and our family, really. And we're able to dine together and to take a break and to come in and to rest together.
Yeah.
And then the songs that come out of it, God has blessed us, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it. I really am.
So you're able to balance your time and your schedule between your role as worship leader and songwriter with People in Songs.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's almost, I wouldn't say that I would have ever thought that it was needed, but it is needed. I find that being home is awesome and blessing, but I'm go. I come here and I'm able to, where I may not be able to let loose as much creatively at home, I can come here and rest and write and be, just kind of in a safe haven. This is a peace place, really. And I just love who Jennie and God have collected together to be able to do that with. And I come here for sabbatical, and I come here just to recharge, go home and be sent out yet again and do exactly what I've been asked to do of the Lord. So
Great.
yeah.
Any other thoughts you'd like to share with your fellow worship leaders across the country?
Well, if I could share just one thought, it would be that when it's hard and when it's always not easy to get up there and to lead God's people in worship, either because you're going through something in your personal life, or you just don't have the strength, or you're tired. There's so many different elements that can cause you to, oh gosh, this just doesn't feel like I'm putting my all in it. Do do it anyway. Because when you get up there and you're not 100%, that's when God shows up and says, all right, I got this, let me take over, because it's my strength.
Yeah.
And it's what I want to do that matters. I'm going to show miracles through you, even if you're not at your best, because that's how God is. He takes whatever you can give him and turns it and multiplies it.
Yeah.
So I would say just keep at it, keep the faith, keep strength, and let God do what he wants to do through you.
Charity, thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul.
And thank you for tuning in. Take care.